I'm assuming, yeah. Put a little. Fine, good, Shlomo. Okay, we gotta keep on singing. We gotta sing a lot more. We're gonna try to understand very briefly why is it that in the Sfarim the tzaddikim say, why is it in the Sfarim that why do they say that the places that you couldn't reach the Shoshana Yom Kippur, you can reach on Zos Chanukah? Why is it like that? Original Rebbe, a bunch of the tzaddikim mention is that there's something in the earth that's available for us that we didn't really have access to, even more than Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's crazy. Zos Chanukah, I didn't grow up with. But anyone else here may have anything
That's why the
special?
kids are still on vacation, even though they're not letting kids.
Machshava Tova, yeah. I mean, did anyone else grow up here with having like a special, unless you grew up with Rebbes, but Zos Chanukah, like the last day of Hanukkah, there's something that's available for us to hopefully get into. It's always the stuff that's like the most hidden, has the most potential. Why Dafka Zos Chanukah? So there are millions of reasons, and we're just going to give a few of them, understanding why is it even called Zos Chanukah. So, like we read this morning, like Mordechai read this morning, it says Zos Chanukah Samizbeach. Every day we read about a certain Nasi and what he brought to the Mizbeach, what he brought to the whole story. He brought to the Mishkan. And on the last day we say Zos Chanukah Samizbeach. This is it. So in Hebrew, when you say the word Zeh or Zot, it's like you're saying a definitive this. This is it. Zeh Zeh. There was a show growing up when I was a kid here in Israel. Zeh Zeh. Very big show. This is it. Zeh Zeh Velo Acheret. That was the name of the show. So what are you able to say in your life? Zos Chanukah, this is it. This is who I am. So the inyan of saying that something is absolutely beautiful, the whole inyan of Hanukkah was to get to a place that you're standing next to light and say, Ze Ani. This is me. I am a person that wants to do good, and like mamash, let's just go basics right now, consciousness. The whole inyan of the build-up of Hanukkah, this is why you might change your mind this year, going base Hillel, because you end up going more and more and more light, till you could say, Zos, this full minute, this is me, this is what my life is about. I have a lot of bad machshavas that confuse me, and I have a lot of sick thoughts sometimes that come in and out. And I don't always do that which I really want to do, but the build-up of Hanukkah is to get to a place and say, on a day where you say, Hal Shalom, Ze Ani, Zos Chanukah Tamizbeach, to point at something. When else did we have this moment of saying about something Ze? A very famous moment, huh? Ze Keli V'Anveyu, it says about Kriyas Yamsuf, Ma Shelo Asa Shefcha Charufa Layam, Lo Ra'ataf, Lo Ra'afilu Yechezkel Ben Buzi Anavi. When we crossed Yamsuf, and each of us pointed to Hashem and said, Ze Keli V'Anveyu, this is my God, V'Anveyu, I will make him more beautiful. So on Hanukkah, Chassidim say that each person stops, and he also points, not Chalila pointing in a chospedik way, but pointing at the light, pointing at what our lives are about, and saying, Ze Ani. Ze Ani. This is me. I get it mixed up with Shtiyot a lot of times, but Ze Ani, like the real Ze Be'emet Ani. That's the build-up of Hanukkah. And that's maybe why the tzaddikim say that when you could reach, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, you're kind of still busy with trying to figure out what it means to crown a king, or trying to make sure that you're forgiven. Right? But on Zos Chanukah, no one's standing there thinking about crowning a king necessarily, or making sure that your Hashem forgives you. It's something else. It's defining yourself, and they're saying, I'm someone that's involved with life. This is really who I am. So we should give each other koach to remind ourselves that this is a Monday morning in Efrat. We're a bunch of grown and young men sitting around bagels and cream cheese and tuna, and singing and davening and making sure that we make the most of what Hashem has put in our laps. And the fact that we're doing this all in Eretz Kodesh and Eretz Yisrael is enough of a reason for us to continue saying Hallel Shalom every day with the bracha throughout the whole year. I didn't say that. I mean, I just mean like, that's God.
You're bringing a zakfasha over your shoulder.
Oral Benson's fearless is, yeah. Okay, so let's sing a little bit of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur though, if we're taking it to the next level. so again, this learning should be for the refuah Shlomo of Shira Yael Bat Liora, is that what it was? Shira Bat Liora, sorry. Yeah, I'm feeling, I don't know, I mean, because so many of us in this room have been together by Bnei Yitzchak, it just feels so much more right whenever we learn him. And we could always use an injection of the B'ditchev in our blood, and every day of the year, specifically now. So we already established, we explained, thank you, Jerry. We already established and explained that the inyan of Zos Chanukah, it's called Zos Chanukah because of the Kriyas HaTorah that we said this morning. Zos Chanukah Samizbeach. Now, but obviously, there's got to be, a lot more teshuvah peh on this concept of why the word Zos, like we said before, about pointing at something and saying this, like, I feel like I'm so proud, I'm so happy I could look around this room and I could say, Zeh mishpacha sheli, and to say it. This is my family, right here. Like, this is my chevra, this is my brothers. These are my warriors, these are my chevra on the battlefield that know that to make it through today's crazy, crazy world, chaverim have to stick close and to say, Zeh keli v'anveyu. I feel like this is how I make Hashem, for me, more beautiful, by sichas chaverim, by being together so many years already and going strong. And that's a wondrous thing. So to continue to go on this world of Zos, Bnei Yitzchak is going to take us through the Torah, just in this tiny piece here from Parshas Va'era, and hopefully will explain to us why Dafka, the last day of Hanukkah, has this definition of the word Zos. And what's the kesher for it, and why do we need it so badly in our lives? Why do we need to hold on to it? So Bnei Yitzchak takes us to Parshas Va'era. Now where are we? What's going on in Parshas Va'era? What's starting to happen already in Parshas Va'era? Second parsha in Sefer Shmos is the Makos. And every time Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to tell Paro, you really want to mess with us? You want to mess with us or not? Whose side are you on? We keep on going back and forth, Paro. And Paro, we've learned in the Bavavi Mishkan Evna classes with the women, is that Paro is not just this figure, this Egyptian foreign ruler that once existed. The Bilvavi told us that whenever there's a dmut in the Torah, whenever there's a character in the Torah, even if you think he's this foreign Egyptian ruler or whatever, it has shaykhus to you. There's a Paro that's inside of you. There's a Balak that's in you. There's a Lavan that's in you. So Paro especially. So look what he says here. Vayifen Paro, vayavo el beso, velo shas libo gam lezos. This is an amazing pasuk. Because Paro comes to his house, and his heart didn't lo shas libo. His heart didn't. What's the right word there?
He didn't place it upon his heart.
What's that?
He didn't place it upon his heart. He didn't pay attention.
He didn't. He ignored even Zos. He ignored. Even Zos he ignored. Look at these words. That's the pasuk. Vayifen Paro, vayova el beso, velo shas libo gam lezos. His heart even ignored Zos. And in the pasuk, it's referring to another makkah, right? But Rabbi Levitz is saying it can't stand be, right? That the word Zos is used here for nothing. Let's understand this based on what Chazal taught us. There's another Zos. And this Zos sends shivers to our spines when we hear it. What's the other Zos? Bezos yavo Aaron el HaKodesh. What is Bezos yavo Aaron el HaKodesh? Like this, Aaron should come into the Kodesh. When is the Torah telling us when and how Aaron should go into the Kodesh? After what happens? After his two sons die. Achrei mol shnei bnei Aaron. This is really, I think this is in, before this is in Shmini, right? Bezos yavo Aaron, and it's Parshas Achemos. Bezos yavo Aaron el HaKodesh. With Zos, yavo Aaron el HaKodesh. You could understand it to mean through what I'm going to tell you, bezot. But Rabbi Levitz is saying, listen, there's so much usage of this word bezot. It's trying to tell us something. Let's understand what zot means. Because it's the same language that's brought down by Paro. He ignored Zot. Aaron HaKohen is told, go into the holiest place, Bezot, with Zot. So Bnei Yitzchak says, second line, Bezos Romez al Knesset Yisrael. Zot means us. We are Zot, the gathering of Am Yisrael. So just before we go ahead, think about it now. Plug that meaning, Knesset Yisrael, into the two psukim. So when it comes to Paro, what does it mean that he ignored? He ignored the fact that there's something called Yidden, that there's Am Yisrael, that it's a real thing in the world. Now go to Yom Kippur. Bezos Yavo Aaron al Kodesh. That if Aaron HaKohen wasn't thinking about you and me, he couldn't go into the Kodesh. That's already like a mega gevalt, no? And the Aaron, and we know that Nasa Aaron is Shmos Bnei Yisrael Alibo. We already know that the Kohen would have to carry the names of Am Yisrael over here on his heart. Now, the way Rabbi Yitzchak develops this is just so beautifully. Why is the word Zot saying that Zot means Knesset Yisrael, the gathering of Am Yisrael? Ki be'emes, third line, Kol ha'olamos lo nivreu ela bishvil Yisrael, because really, the whole world was only created for Am Yisrael. Words you probably can't say today, and forget about non-Jewish dissenters, and even in the Hashem should heal us. Kol ha'olamot lo nivru ela bishvil Yisrael. The worlds were all created for Am Yisrael. What does that mean? Hem ha'ikar ha'gorem lebrias ha'olam. Ha'ikar ha'gorem. They are the main reason for which the world was created. You know, we have an issue today because we're so confused with being politically correct in this world. Does it say something wrong when I say that the whole world was created for the sake of Am Yisrael? Well, if we have to understand what that means, that doesn't mean it's just for me and you're irrelevant. Chas v'shalom, you non-Jew are irrelevant, God forbid. It just means that I have to understand the purpose for which HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world. And he says over here, the worlds were created so that Am Yisrael could get the Torah and come to Eretz Yisrael. If you think about that for a second, the world was created for people that, like us, that are learning Torah and coming back home to Eretz Yisrael. This is Tachlis Shleimus Ha'olam. Rabbi Yitzchak says this is why the world was created. Ha'ikar ha'gorem lebriat ha'olam. U'bazeh merumaz Knesset Yisrael b'mila Zos. And that's why the assembly of Israel is alluded in this word Zos, meaning Zos hu ha'ikar ve'ha'gorem. This is the ikar, this is the most important thing, ve'ha'gorem. The cause for everything in the world, for the creation of the world. V'zeu ha'remez v'zos ha'bracha asher barach Moshe. What was the, he says over here, where else do we see a zos? The end of the Torah. V'zos ha'bracha asher barach Moshe, ish Elokim is Bnei Yisrael lifnei Moshe. What was the bracha? So you could say a lot of things what he says afterwards. But what Rabbi Yitzchak is saying is, v'zos ha'bracha, Moshe Rabbeinu blessed Yidden with the knowledge and the understanding that they are the ikar and the gorem in the world. That is the greatest bracha that any leader could bestow upon us. Living with the awareness and the consciousness of who I am as a Yid and what I'm doing here in this world. That the world was created for me to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing in the world. V'kan sheMoshe hera leParo, and here Moshe Rabbeinu showed Paro who Hashem is, and he told him, V'amar lo sheYisrael him ikar. And Moshe Rabbeinu told Paro, you know who the ikar is in the world? Yidden. Paro lo ratza la'amin lezeh. Paro doesn't want to believe it. V'zehu, this is what it means, v'lo shas libo gam lezos. Rabbi Yitzchak says.
That's a gam.
Huh?
That's a gam.
I'm not sure over here. V'zehu v'lo shas libo, I'm sure there's a drush there, but I don't know over here. V'lo shas libo gam lezos, so that Paro, and we said, Paro is not a story about an Egyptian ruler that lived many years ago. With enough light in my life, I have enough koyach to go into me and find Paro. And what would that mean, basically? Al pi avoda, al pi derech avoda. what would I find? What's the avoda of this Torah? Like if we learned this Torah and said, how are we doing an avoda of this?
Believing that the whole world was created for us.
Where in me don't I believe that?
It's right in your heart.
Where in me is that? It's probably more here actually. But where in me and where is it activated more? What triggers that feeling? How do I shech that feeling? And how do I build a rhythm that I remember when I fall into that trap of paro, that I don't really believe fully that this whole inyan is really about us, and the avoda is catching myself, finding myself. But usually during the year I don't have enough guts to do it because it's too painful to find. But on Zos Chanukah, with enough light, and we already said, listen, this is really me. I'm a person of light. Zeh ani. So I can go and say, okay, so where is the paro that's still alive in me that doesn't really want to believe that the whole world was created for you? You know, Reb Nosson Breslov Eschisa Gen Aleinu, who's, I could already feel the trembling his yortzites in 8 days. It's Beis Tevis in 8 days. Next Tuesday is Reb Nosson's yortzeit. Hopefully we'll be doing something special here on Asar Tevis. Hopefully we'll be doing something special here every day, but definitely for Reb Nosson's yortzeit. Tzvi's going tonight to Chutz La'aretz. We send him also brachas and koyach b'matzliach, chaim, they shall be matzliach.
Last year we were returning from the Tule up north.
Sorry?
Last year I think we were returning from the Tule up north.
Well, last year we were here because Nissen came that day. It was a Sarah B'Tevis.
Wasn't
It was a fast day.
that night? And Nelson's yard side?
We wouldn't have gone up north on the fast day. Yeah. No, I remember it was here with the women, the years, I said, but it was around the same time. So Reb Nosson has a very beautiful teaching. What's the first Rashi in the Torah? The first Rashi is, why does the Torah start with stories and not with... Right. So what does Rashi say over there? Mishum koyach ma'asav higid la'amo lates demnach l'zneim. Why does the Torah start the way it does? So that what? So that if chas v'sholom people come and say,
It's not your land.
Listim atem, this is not your land, you can come and say, listen, I didn't say this. You know, Hashem decided it's my land. So Reb Nosson says the Gewalt Torah. And if you have the book This Is My Land by Chaim Kramer, it's a very chashuv piece in there. He says, Reb Nosson says, Rashi was telling us, it's not if someone else comes and tells you, why is this your land? It's when you ask yourself, is this really my land or not? It's not other people coming and saying, it's that voice inside of you and says, you're a thief. This is not really yours. You have no shaykhus to here. So regarding all dvarim shebikdusha, the Torah starts off the way it does so that we can answer ourselves, not answer other voices. And that's the avodah of Zos Chanukah, to answer all the voices of saying, "B'lo shas libo gam lezos." I'm sorry, it's I'm not taking Paro's side anymore. I'm on Moshe Rabbeinu's side. I'm on Aaron HaKohen's side. Bezos yavo Aaron el Kodesh. This is how Aaron comes into the Kodesh Kodashim. You know, Bichlal, the whole inyan of Hanukkah, I'm very biased, obviously. Chezi and I, this is our holiday. This is the Kohanim, right? This is our Yantiv. And we say on Hanukkah, we Hasidim, when they look at each other in Hanukkah, Zos Chanukah, they say, Gemar Chasima Tova. You know that, right? Amtaka Sadinim. Should be sweetened, the judgment should be sweetened. Gemar Chatima Tova, you should be sealed, because the final sealing, we say, is really on Zos Chanukah. Why? What's one of the reasons? It's because Aaron HaKohen's way of sealing you in the book of life is the way that you really want. Because Aaron HaKohen had this amazing ability to not do anything other than explain to you that what you really want is light in your life. That was what the Kohen would do when you came with the korban into the Beis Mikdash. Like if we had to, kind of re-experience that, person comes and brings a korban. So on the one hand, he does it because he knows he has to do it. It's a chiyuv, I have to bring a korban, chatas, whatever it is. But in the inside, what am I really looking for? More than atonement, I want to become someone that doesn't want to do averos anymore. That's really what I want. Much more than if Hashem forgave me or not. So like we said before, on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, I'm still working my way through atonement. Did Hashem forgive me or not? But on Hanukkah, the way I'm sealed is that not only do I believe Hashem forgave me, but that I believe that I'm a person that wants to do good things in this world. I don't identify myself anymore as a sinner. That is the Avodah Zarah of today. Mamish. We identify. We identify ourselves based on some wacky thoughts we may have, or actions we might have done once upon a time, and it says, this is me. Hanukkah, because of Aaron HaKohen, I say, no, this is not me. There's a koyach of this day that no matter how much I forgot myself, I'm lifted up. Look at the bottom piece. This is, and we're going to end the Torah with this. This is an amazing thing. Who's the korban of today? Vayom Hashmini, on the 8th day, whose tribe was it to bring? Nasi Livnei Menashe, Gamliel ben Pedatzur. Okay, this is a famous Torah that the tzaddikim say. This is brought down by the Tolner Rebbe. Have any of you ever heard of the Tolner Rebbe?
Yeah.
I think that Rav Lichter is very close to him.
He wants to arrange for us to go.
Yeah.
Rabbi Sanders,
Huh?
Rabbi Sanders, I think that's me from
The Tolner, you know, the Rav Soloveitchik is the son-in-law, right? Is
Yeah,
it
the shul is called Talmud.
Where does Talmud come from in Chassidus, do you know? So one of the Baal Shem Tov's top Talmidim, Chaverim, was the Chernobyl, Nachum Chernobyl, the Ma'arinayim. Chernobyl then comes down, it divides into a few places, the Magid, the Trisker Magid, Hornesteipel, the Twersky family. Tolna is in that same line over there, right? The Tolna. David Zeller of Hashem was very big on the Tolna Rebbe. He turned me on. I have two Sfarim of the Tolna Rebbe, the Birkas David and the Magin David. It's beautiful. So Amar Harav HaKadosh Rabbi David Mitalna. Look what he says here. He's basically saying to us that everything we said and all the Torah we just said about the Kedusha of this day is alluded to in the Korban that we read this morning. Bayom HaShmini, Nasi Livnei Menashe, Gamliel ben Pedatzur. Bayom HaShmini, what is Yom HaShmini speaking about? Musav al Yom Achron Shel Chanukah, Hanikres Zos Chanukah. So Bayom HaShmini, even though in the parsha that we're reading today, it's nothing to do with Hanukkah, right? Bayom HaShmini, what day of the year is the Yom HaShmini that we read about in the morning this morning?
It's either the 8th of Nisan or Rosh Chodesh.
Nachon, it's not Hanukkah, but because it says Yom HaShmini, he's saying this is referring to the Kedusha of Zos Chanukah. Nasi, what does Nasi mean? You think it just means president, right? But a president means someone that's lifted up. That's what marriage should be, nisuim, that you lift each other up. So he says, V'yom HaShmini Nasi, Hu Yom Marum V'Nisa, this 8th day is a day that's elevated. To who? Livnei Menashe. Now, why is Menashe called Menashe? We read this past Shabbos. Yosef HaTzadik has two sons, Ephraim and Menashe. Why does he call Menashe Menashe? Ki nashani Elokim es kol amali, which means Hashem enabled me to forget all the pain that I went through, to be able to become who I am right now. So the word Menashe has in it forgetting. So what does he say over here? V'yom HaShmini Nasi, it's a day that's elevated for who? Livnei Menashe, to those Livanim shedadu shachachu me'avim shebashitim, to those that were either forgot about Hashem or they felt that they were forgotten by Hashem. So what's the name of the Nasi of Bnei Menashe? Someone that's able to say Gamliel. Shekol echad omer Gam li kel. I also have a God. I also have a chilek. Gam li el ben nechshav al zeh. This is the son of who? Nechshav al zeh libno shel hamakom baruch hu pedatzur upode kivyachol es hakadosh baruch hu al nikra tzur. How would you say that? He redeems the Ribono Shel Olam, so to speak, who's called a tzur, a rock. So look at the pasuk again. Bayom HaShmini, on the 8th day, on what happens on Zos Chanukah, it's a nasi. It's an elevated day. For who? Livnei Menashe. Who are the sons of Menashe? Those who felt forgotten, or those who might have chas v'shalom forgotten about their keshin to the Ribono Shel Olam. Because on Zos Chanukah, everyone can say the name of the nasi. Gamliel. To me also is Hashem. I have a chilek. Gamliel ben Pedatzur. Anyway, we should be zeicher Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach to hold on to this day for Bemet, like to hold on to, because now until Purim it can get rough. You have Tu B'Shvat, but besides like the hippies, I don't know anyone that really gets excited about on the Moshav. They get really, really excited. I know that Noach's father wants to come and do a whole Tu B'Shvat Siddur. We should do it, but besides Tu B'Shvat, like, what do we have from now? We're going to try to hold on to Asar B'Tevis, to Rav Nassan and everything, but from now until Purim, really, it's like, huh? You got to be calm and steady, big time. You have to divide and conquer every single day. You have to really hold on to the fact that you established something on Zos Chanukah. You put yourself in the Machaneh. You put yourself in the Machaneh. It's simple. You chose. There was a chalukah of kvutzot. There was a division. They were setting aside teams. And you didn't wait for someone to choose you. You said, I'm going to that side. I'm Gamliel's. I'm what's that? And so you're saying, yeah, Gamliel, I'm answering you, Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm with you. I'm on your team. This is a little bit of the Gedusha of Zos Chanukah. We have to have emunah shlema that when we daven for the Beis Hamikdash, what we're davening for is that there should be a kohen that goes into the Kodesh Kodashim that thinks about every single Jew. Bezos yavo Aaron al Kodesh, and to have enough holy chutzpah to go into our hearts and find the paro that says v'lo shas libo gam lezos, to say this is, I'm done with that, identifying with that person as well. And Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach, we should have a lot of Sed Dishmaya with our families and with our children to remember that they're beautiful when they're standing there lighting the menorah, saying the brachas, and you're getting so much nachas. And then Hashem is saying, can you hold on to those eyes when they're not exactly standing in front of the menorah, lighting candles, but there's other noises and sounds at different times of the night and day coming out of them, and still see these are candles, these are precious candles that need to be always looked at and not to use them. We should see each other. We should establish this on Hanukkah. We should see each other. We should invite each other more into our hearts now that we've all established that we're on the same team. As much as we were on the same team before, we're on the same team. All of us are Gamliel. All of us want to say, Gamliel ben Peletzur. All of us at times feel Bnei Menashe. We feel like we're forgotten. Or we feel like we forgot that which is important. Hanukkah is this mikveh, those Hanukkah is saying, Yalla, we're all in this together. So I want to just make a strong plug, because we need to stay strong. Be'ezer Hashem, in about 5 weeks or 6, 5 weeks? 5 or 6 weeks, the last week of January, Be'ezer Hashem, we're planning our second Yarchei Kala, run by JJ. Jerry and Josh. I should say Yud and Yud, but that's already Yeshua, Baron, and Jerry are, and Be'ez Hashem. We're planning a very powerful. Like last year, what we had was just mamish, an incredible experience, and we're already in the works to see tzaddikim, to be traveling again, to be out in the Eretz Yisrael, connecting again to Kedushas Haaretz. I think that's when that was our anniversary, Chazi. Nachon? I can't believe it's only a year ago. That's when our lives were, Baruch Hashem, elevated. So make sure, look at the calendar already. Put time on that. It's what is it? What are the dates? To the 26th, right? We have a lot. We have Bezrat Hashem, Karduner, a bunch of stuff. But to be together, to continue this or, to give us strength to keep on going on, and Ashreinu Matov Chelkeinu. Ashreinu Matov Chelkeinu, Umanayim Goyradeinu. 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 Ay, Ashreinu Matov Chelkeinu, Umanayim Goyradeinu. Ashreinu Matov Chelkeinu, Umanayim Goyradeinu. Ay, 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 Ashreinu Matov Chelkeinu, Umanayim Goyradeinu. Asheinu Matoim Chalkeinu U'Ma'anarim Goyim Shekoyach, Shekoyach, Shekoyach. Before we bench, whoever wants to confess. They're miracles, not the... Anyone have any miracle confessing?
Can I say something on the word zot?
No.
I didn't raise my hand.
Good.
I was just looking at the word when you started teaching, and there were all these Torahs on 7 and 8, and how when we get to 8 we go Ma'ala Teva. So looking at the word, there's a Zion, which is 7, and the Aleph, which is 1. When those come together, it takes you to Tuft, all the way to the end.
Wow.
So within the word zot,
Chazak. Chazak.
a completion.
Chazak. Chidush Edov Yeshua.
I rolled the dreidel twice this morning and landed on Nace. That's my Nace for today.
Nice.
Can I say something quickly?
Yeah, not quickly.
If we have a minute, your Torah has just reminded me of something that I heard from Moshe Weinberger, and he said, we related Hanukkah to the Yamim Noraim. He said, I think, I don't remember who was it, Divrei Chaim, I don't remember who it was, and he said, no, on Elul, HaMelech B'Sadeh, Hashem leaves his palace, and he also said, during the 3 weeks, the Shekhinah's in Galus. It's a different kind of thing, but he leaves the palace in a different kind. And he said, they gave a mashal for Hanukkah, and he said that in Hanukkah, it used to be back in the day, there were certain kings when they would go to visit all their different provinces globally, they would also go to visit the jails. And that's Hanukkah. Hanukkah is Hashem coming not just down to the field, but also coming to visit everybody in a very dark place in their jails. That's why it said that to do tshuva on certain there's certain things that we can't, hard for us to figure out to do tshuva, certain mistakes we made. Hanukkah gives us those answers, those abilities to do tshuva on maybe some of the more far out and stranger things we've done, whatever it may be. I just thought of Shmuel Braun said something that relates to this. He said that we just read in the Parshios about Yosef being in a jail, and he says, and even today, modern Hebrew and also in the Torah, we call a jail a beit sohar. And he said it wasn't even like a Hasidic Torah; it was like a Rishon. I think he said that sohar is in the same language as the tzoar. Anybody remember what the tzoar was on the teva?
Windows.
It's that what gave light in the darkness of the teva. Also, he said it's also a lashon of a moon, which also gives light in the darkness. And he said it's very unique that a jail, which is like a very dark, a bore, an underground dungeon, is defined by what? By absolutely what it's not. So I think that's what this is all about. We all have our own cells and our own dungeons and our own darkness, and like we said, we got to bunker down for the next few weeks and months. And when we're in our own darkness, whatever it is, we have to be striving for that light, because that's really what it's all about. It's like even in the darkness. And remember that on Hanukkah, it's a reminder that Hashem visits us in those dark places, and He comes to each and every one of us to bring light and remind us that we have light to share and strive for. I just also quickly wanted to acknowledge my last Zos Chanukah, I was in the hospital with my wife, and thing, but Baruch Hashem, we had a Yeshua. My wife had a Yeshua. I want to thank Shlomo. I know that there were a few key conversations we had with her that really helped her, and also I want to acknowledge also Rabbeinu Zal, Rabbi Nachman, because I think his Torah has also brought a lot of comfort and redemption to my wife and to our family. So Hanukkah Sameach, we should all feel redemption.
Amen.
We should all see light in the darkness.
Amen. Chaim. Shekayach.
Shlomo, what you said, what Dov said, connecting the word Zos, we say to the Yamim Noraim is from Rosh Chodesh Shavuot to Shmini Atzeret, we're saying, the David Ori, the Zos Ani Boteach. The question, what is the Zos? The question is asked, what the Zos Ani Boteach? It doesn't say Mefurat. So I heard once the gematria of Zos is 408. And in Machzor, in Sanatokef, right, we say Tefillah, Tshuva, and Staka. And a lot of Machzorim, there's words written above those three words, right? Above those three words are, on Tefillah is Kol, on Staka is Mamon, and tshuva, tzom. You do the gematria on those 3 words. Each one is 136. 136 times 2 is 408. So the Zos is, it's an idea that we can have. What is the Zos? Is tefillah, tzedakah, and tshuva.
Beautiful, Kenny. Yesher koyach. Yesher koyach. Thanks for being here. Yes.
From Rabbi Johnson Sachs, I was telling this to Dove on Friday night. I didn't like catch the end. The end was pretty cool. Realized that where's the makor for the actual nace of Hanukkah? We're talking about the nace of the oil. I mean, it's not even in. Where's the makor for Hanukkah? Period. So the makor he brings the makor for Hanukkah is in Maccabees 1 and 2, which isn't necessarily in official Tanakh for some reason. And then he goes on to say how the actual mitzvah of the oil is not, the actual miracle of the oil, that's not there. So, what's that all about? It talks about how, even if you read Al Nisim, you'll see in parentheses there's something about a little bit of oil, but there's light, there was a miracle, but it does not talk about the oil and this miracle of how it lasted for 8 days, or they used a little bit each day. So he explained how that, and I hope I do it justice, he explained how that they instituted this 8-day Yom Tov. You have to realize during this time, it's not like the Beit HaMikdash was sacked one day and the next day they came back and they took it back. They didn't have a sukkos that year. And they instituted this 8-day holiday in commemoration of Sukkot. They didn't have a Sukkot. So they did Keilu like Sukkot, 8 days. They did 8 days of Chag. And the thing is, if you go on the miracle of us beating the Yavanim, there's a few problems with that. 2 of them that I remember is, one, after the Beit HaMikdash gets destroyed, then how do you celebrate Hanukkah? How do you look at Hanukkah as I'm sure some of this has been spoke about, some of you have heard different things about this over at Yom Tov, but from what I heard, it's pretty strange that you have this talking in the books 1 and 2 and Aleph and Bet, it's talking about how we won, and then we still celebrate this Yom Tov, and we don't even have a Beit HaMikdash anymore. It's just odd. Furthermore, the second problem and then where's the miracle? And then where's the miracle of the oil? So he talks about how Chazal, they were deciding, should this continue to be a Yom Tov or not? And they're trying to figure out the Ikar of the Yom Tov, and they realized, and they said, of course we're going to keep it, because really the thing about Hanukkah is that we fought against the Hellenization and the Westernization of our Yiddishkeit. That's what we really fought against. There was a physical battle, and we won that. But it was more like our spirit. It was more our Yiddish spirit. It was like what Reb Shlomo was saying earlier, the Zos. That Zos that's our inside communious connection to Hashem. Yiddishkeit. You think Hashem needs a Beit HaMikdash? I think we need it more than He does, right? But what we need more than that, even more than a Beit HaMikdash, is we need to have our own Yiddishkeit inside of ourselves. And they decided that we're gonna celebrate this. And then it was brought down that there was this miracle about the light, and it makes sense that we focus on that and not the victory of the Maccabean, because later on they become kings and they're somewhat Hellenized too. So this Yom Tov has to have been something that's going to last and that's going to be meaningful for them to continue and keep it as a Yom Tov. So they realize that the real miracle is that nace, that Aish inside of us, that Zos Chanukah, that, no matter what, we stay true to ourselves. There's no Beit HaMikdash, and you could win that war one day, and if Hashem doesn't want it, you won't have it the next day. And that's an external thing. And I'm sure it's the highest thing. I can't even relate to it. But what we can relate to is our paninius, our inside Yiddishkeit. And that's what Hanukkah is all about. It's just so interesting to me, guys. It blew my mind. I'm sure some of you know it already, but I'm like, I was reading Al Anisim, and I'm like, I don't even see it. Like, where's the miracle of the oil? Come on. That's what you learn about when you're a kid. And you focus on the Neiro and on the Aish and the fire. Where is it? But it's inside of us. And we gotta keep that going, that burn. You're right, I thought about that. I thought about how, we had a good little run between the Yom Tovim and Hanukkah, and we had an awesome break in between. The Ukraine trip was like a good solid boost. But I thought about that. What's gonna be for this next run? Purim's high enough to keep you excited. But it is a long period. So yeah, give us all a bracha, the same exact bracha that you gave of Shlomo, that you should all just keep that fire burning so we can stay strong to get to Yom Purim.
Amen.
You should warm me up.
Yes.
Because you said, I told this to Dov, so I'll say, I told this to Dov also, and we'll share our Torahs with him. But it moves to the next high, which is Purim. This Chag, we spoke so often about being a Chag of Hoda'ah, of like thanks. Like this is the Chag of thanks, and like why the light and the war, but like because the Karban Todah is going to be the one that's sticking around during the days of Mashiach. I mean, that's at the essence. That's the panemius of this Chag. We spoke about it, living in gratitude, living this constant awareness, consciousness. So there's a question. First of all, the Karban Todah is a very serious Karban in terms of the amount of food that it has. There's like a lot of matzah, and there's flour, and there's oil. It's a lot of food like this. And there's a very specific time period that it has to be consumed, and it's that day, and that day only. So if we want to keep this Fabrengen going, this is a Karban Todah. We can't go ahead and do this tomorrow and save these bagels for tomorrow. The idea being that we're all supposed to be coming together, having a lot of people come together and eat it and consume it at once, as opposed to, I'm going to hang out, or I'm going to hold on for tomorrow, or maybe for the next day, have some leftovers. The Ishbitzer says such a deep, deep, deep psychological idea. We say it all the time. He says, when it comes to Todah, when it comes to giving thanks and gratitude, I can't think on tomorrow. I don't know what's going to, I can only think on what I have right now, today. Zot Chanukah, this is how I feel right now, this is where I'm holding right now, this is the chaver that I'm with, this is where I want to be, this is who I believe I am right now. For this moment, I can't think, I don't know what's going to be between now and Purim. I can't start getting down. I can only be right now, in here, in the day. That's the gratitude, that's the consciousness.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's, we should merit
Amen.
living like
Amen.
that. That's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tomorrow